let's get right into it. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the fact that this is a photography first camera. Listen to what I said. Photography first camera. Not a video camera, not a film camera, a photography first camera. And I'm going to treat it as such. I've heard everybody's point of view about how, well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people's point of view about how the video settings are something, this is that. I'm going to touch a bit on that, but that's much later because I am a photographer first who's going to be dabbling into video. So I'm going to talk about it as a photography camera first. And that's what I'll do. Let's get to it. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say this might be the best camera in the market for photography. Wait, let me clarify that. I usually generally say that the best camera is the one you have in your hand, maybe your phone or whatever type of camera you can get, because what is most important is telling the story and, you know, shooting with what you have in the moment. However, there's levels to this. You understand? The Canon R5 is a beautiful beast of a camera. It's exciting to work with. I've been so excited to play around with it. Sometimes I'm just like bored in the day and I just, let me just take out my camera so I can feel happy. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I just enjoy my life with it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. But the point is, this camera can do so much, and it's just exciting to work with. When I took it to a friend's house when I wanted to test it, and as I took a picture of her, she was like, "Oh my God!" She literally took the camera from me to go and show it to somebody else. Like, it's so beautiful. You're gonna see B-roll footage from the first shoot I actually ever had with it, and yeah, it's gonna roll in 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to start with the handling of the camera, the body, the ease of use, basically the size, everything. So first of all, I'm coming from a DSLR camera. It's usually heavy bodies, the mirrors, it's very thick, and and I enjoy it because I got used to it over time. But using this camera, sometimes it feels very much lighter and more compact. So like I can just take the camera and it seems very small and unintimidating. So I can go to like a place and be shooting and nobody's going to care because and that brings me to one of my most exciting things about it, the electronic shutter mode. Like I can be shooting and I don't know that I'm shooting. You understand what I'm saying? Like if I'm shooting, normally if you're shooting with the camera, you're doing quack, 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 quack. This I'm hearing. Did you hear that? There's nothing, like literally no sound. And like first time I actually just said it, I wanted to see, let me see what's the electronic shutter thing about. And I set it and I was pressing the camera. I was like wondering, like, why is it not shooting? Why is it not taking any pictures? And then I checked the display to see. And I found out I'd taken like 4 or 5 pictures. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what? So it's extremely silent, and that's super cool because it means that you can be taking documentary pictures or wedding pictures without anybody knowing that you're taking. So you're not distracting in the moment, you're not interrupting. People are not saying, they're not particularly conscious of the shot. They're focusing they're being in the moment, and you can capture that without distracting anybody. I also think that the size, maybe some people might think about the size and think, oh, it's not a big camera, or this. I think that's one thing that Nigerians really like. They like the glitz and glam, especially here in Lagos when you go for like a fashion week. They think this is a small camera because it's a small camera. It's only photographers that will actually know that this is actually a beast of a camera. But like people may think, well, I don't care, man. It's at the end of the day, it's the pictures that I'm shooting that matters the most. Plus, I think the next thing I'm going to talk about is the colors. So about the colors, now I still personally believe that Nikon colors are the best, like right from scratch. something about it. I think I'm so used to it. However, I think Canon has come a long way. Like literally, there's a beauty to it. The skin tones are, they still have that, you know, magenta red undertone, but I did a few things in the camera to, you know, adjust it so it to fit my style and something I like so much. So now I love it because I could control it, and that's the beauty of, you know, these more advanced cameras. You can set almost everything to be whatever it is that you like it to be. So I'm really excited about that. I think the colors are incredible. I change the black. I normally shoot in black and white, and then it comes out in color when I put in post because I'm shooting raw. So I can adjust, and so I had to adjust the black and white to the black and white I'm used to in my Nikon camera, because the Nikon camera has colors. Oh my goodness! Even in black and white, there's a feel, there's a color, there's a tone that it has that most other cameras don't have. So I had to adjust this R5 to fit that style I'm used to, and it's just so beautiful. Oh my god! Like, first of all, a lot of people love Canon color science, and which is great, you know, but I prefer the Nikon color science. But now that I'm able to convert the color science within the camera to something I like, I think that's super amazing. So I'm excited using it already. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is the focusing. Now, see, if people don't understand what's going on, they don't understand it because it's supernatural. It's something else. I have used Nikon cameras for the longest time, and even like I've been using a DSLR camera. I've never used a mirrorless before now. And one thing I've heard about mirrorless cameras is the autofocus ability, and nobody was kidding. Plus, I think that this one is better than the one that I saw before in the Sony A7R3 and A7 III, which I think are amazing with their focusing. And I've not used them for long enough to be able to say, okay, this is so much better than this. But this R5 camera is incredible with that. Like, I'm literally blown away. Like, the first time I actually just handled it and saw the autofocusing capacity, it's so good. Like, look at me right now. I'm literally in front of the camera, right? And you can see me moving. I'm going to move this way and it's still going to be in focus. I'm moving this way, it's going to be in focus. I move forward. Can you see it? Do you see that? How fast it's focused to my face? I'm moving backwards now, and it's giving me, like, if I put my hand in front of my face, can you see that? And then look at this. Like, it's so beautiful. I wanted you to see that so that you can see what I'm seeing, and it's so sweet. So, you know, let's move ahead. But in video mode, the focusing is great. In photo mode, the focus, like, normally I like to use this whole back focus button thing to, you know, focus when I'm doing photo shoots. But like, I don't have to. Like, I'm not even thinking about focusing again because I'm shooting back, or because it's silent, and everything is in focus. Like, I'm gonna cry. Okay. So yes, the focusing is incredibly amazing, and you should check out mirrorless cameras if you have never actually ventured into them, and see how beautiful the focusing is, because man, you've got to try to see it to feel it. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, that's right. Up next is the dynamic range. Now the thing is, a lot of people have talked good and bad things about it, but I personally think it's amazing. Forget, like, okay, because, okay, again, think about the fact that I'm talking in photography mode. It says it has 11 stops of dynamic range. I'm not very familiar with all these scientific terms and all those things, even though, like, I just know what I like, I know what looks good, and I make the most of it. My Nikon camera still has one of the best dynamic ranges that I've ever used, the D750, which means that when I shoot in, you know, outdoors, I can still get a lot of the details back, even in the highlights and in the shadows. And to be honest, this camera does amazing more. Look at this next picture that I'm going to show you. Raw picture, blah blah blah. I actually showed it so that you could see what the raw file looked like and what on all details I could get back in the what's it called, in post. So I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Plus, I try to make sure that I, you know, expose properly in when I'm shooting, so I don't have to do all of that, you know, all of that post processing before I can get my details back in. Plus, if I'm shooting outdoors for video, why not just put on an ND filter and expose right? Why do I have to stress myself and overexpose so that I can come and find those details back in? Like, I know there are different conditions and things existing, but like, I think it's pretty good for what it can do. So, plus for dynamic range as well. If you remember in my first video, I talked about how what's it called? I was excited to try out the electronic viewfinder versus the optical viewfinder that I'm used to. man, I must say that I'm pretty impressed. Like, I'm not noticing any major differences. So it's not like I'm thinking, oh my goodness, there's something I'm seeing that I'm not supposed to be seeing or whatever. It feels very natural to the eye. The best thing about it is the fact that I can say that whatever I'm seeing in the viewfinder is what I'm getting out in the final image. Like the fact that I can control that and see that is perfect. In my older camera, my DSLR, I couldn't say that because if I the what's it called? Sometimes I'm just looking at what is in front of me, but the camera setting may not be able to, So I can literally have the camera in my eye and set all the exposure things and still find that I'm getting great pictures without having to look at the pictures and then start adjusting anything. It just eases the time, makes everything really smooth. So another plus with the electronic viewfinder as well. Up next, I'm now going to be talking about the video features. Now, I think this is where Canon got it wrong. Let me be clear. I still think the video features are amazing. I still think that they did a fantastic job and like they made it future proof. I think they should not have marketed it as a primary video camera. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Because it's a beast in video, right? But it's a hybrid camera, meaning that it's made for photographers who want to shoot videos. Now everybody's comparing it with the the Sony A7S III, which recently just came out like a month or two, or a few weeks after the Canon R5. Now the thing about the Sony is that it was made for videos, with primarily videos in mind, and so it's not as great for photography, but it's really great for video. So I feel like a fairer comparison would be the Sony A7R4, which was built as a video and photo camera. And if you ask me, the R5 beats it too. Because first of all, there's so many things, that the color science, the the memory management, and all of those things. So I would think that the the R5 does much better than the Sony A7R4. Yes, but everybody comparing with the Sony A7S III is just being unfair, if you ask me, because they are both different types of cameras catering to different kinds of people. If you're looking for a big camera to shoot videos with and maybe you do a little bit of photography, then the Sony is better for you. But this camera is the best for me for photography that does a little video. That's what it is. It has 8K RAW. It has 4K 120 frames, 4K 60 frames, 4K 30 frames. It has 1080p, and with the new firmware update, you can shoot for much longer time. Me and Prince Mason, we actually tested out the overheating, right? And it stayed for 19 minutes before it went off. And I was still able to shoot with it. As like shoot, by shoot I mean like take pictures. And nobody talks about that. But then it's okay, it's fine, because I'm a photographer, so it's fine. I just wanted to see what was possible, and it felt like when I heard everybody talk about it, they were saying you can't use it again for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, and which is fine. Like if you are trying to shoot more 8K video or more 4K 120 video, it might take long for it to recover. Now they've introduced a new firmware update, which I actually just quickly updated mine to, that corrected a few things. But one of the things that it corrected is the fact that if you shoot the 4K 120, for example, and it stops at like that 18th minute, if you wait for a second or for a minute or two and then you start recording again, you get a few more minutes, and then a few more minutes, and then a few more minutes. Like if you, instead of shooting, like I don't know anybody who shoots 4K 120 for up to 20 minutes or 100 minutes. Like who does that? Like why? Most people who use 4K 120, they are mostly using it because they want to shoot B-roll, and like it requires a lot of cutting. And with this firmware update, I think that you can get, somebody was able to get as much as almost an hour or 70 something minutes actually of video of 4K 120 video. And to be honest, like how much of that do you really need? So as a video camera, it's really not as bad as people say it is. Like it's really good too. And like the 4K that everybody's talking about, 4K is not as good as the 4K HQ. The regular 4K is not as good as the 4K HQ. Let me ask you a question. Is it better than the 1080p? If it is, that's what you need. Let's start there. And then with the firmware updates as they're coming, I think it's just going to be much better. Right now, I feel like a Canon fanboy because I'm making it seem like it's better than it is. And I don't think I'm making it seem like it's better than it is. I just think I'm pointing out how good it actually is, as against all the people who are saying it is not so good, right? As a photography camera, it's incredible. As a video camera, it's pretty good. And I think that's what's the most important thing, because it's a photography camera first. Like I said, it's my favorite camera right now. I'm currently using it to record this video. And tell me what you think. Here's some extra video footage that I shot during my shoot that I did some time ago. Yes, I just said that I shot during my shoot that I did a while ago. Oh my goodness. I need to get better at this, don't I? Yeah. What do you think about the videos? I thought it was amazing, and I shot all these at 1080p. I think it's actually really good. I think one thing I want to see Canon do in the next couple of weeks or months is add 120 frames per second to the 1080p shooting. And I think it's going to be really amazing. But otherwise, I think it's actually great. What do you think? Please share your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and everybody else. What else would you like me to share on my YouTube channel? Please let me know as well. Have a wonderful day. It's your boy Lexash in the building.